This is already conflicting with our perspective of being customer-centric. We're becoming competitor motivated at this point. We launched auctions and it did not do too well. We realized this is not the business we want to get into and want to pull out and get out of it. So we asked ourselves, what did we learn from doing this? Did we learn anything to benefit from? Well, we learned that there's a big market for third parties who want to sell on Amazon. We started investing into that. Third-party markets became a large piece of our business for Amazon.com. That ended up growing so much that we started offering ways to help these third-party sellers scale. So we started offering our own internal services. We started to build what then became AWS as a result of this. So we look at this historically and we say, wow, auctions was a big failure, but it led to third-party sellers and it led to AWS for us. So that's okay. Failure, again, is not a bad thing. Another good example is the Fire Phone. Has anyone here actually seen one of these in person? Incredible. Very gimmicky. It just was not. It didn't last. We knew that right away. But we hired a bunch of people and we got really good at building physical devices. We got good at building voice assistants. And we said, well, what do we do now? And so naturally, that turned into the Alexa initiative and built out the Alexa device. If you look at that, you'll see that we're empowering our consumers. Today, there's well over 50,000 skills on the Alexa device today. And so again, it's about taking these failures, learning from them, and finding ways to empower our customers with this. I bet those Fire Phones are worth money a long time because they're a collector's item at this point. The other thing we talk about within Amazon is how we structure our teams themselves. So Jeff coined this term of 2 pizza box teams, and what it means is we don't have teams bigger than teams you can feed with 2 pizzas during lunch. So it ends up being about 8 people. We find that anything more than 8 people becomes too big of a team that it's hard to keep up the communication, keep everyone on the same page. You create these small teams, you give them complete ownership of their piece of the product end to end. They design it, they launch it. If it breaks, they're fixing it. And so Amazon, if you look at Amazon.com, it's composed of hundreds of these little microservices with hundreds of teams that are building and improving each little piece component of that page. This becomes key as your dev teams and your company overall keeps growing in size. And there's plenty of articles about when that point is and how to figure out to switch to this size. We are at the time mark, so I'm going to leave you with this forward-looking view, that if we had 3 big ideas at Amazon, we stuck with 20 years, these are them. It's being customer first. Again, it's that working backwards process. It's understanding your customer and then inventing on their behalf. And it's also being patient. It's waiting for that idea to actually mature and to actually become a reality. So I will stop it at that. That's at 10 left, and